whether or not I am indeed guilty. I know that I was convicted of a very, very atrocious offense, the rape and murder of an elderly victim, a defenseless victim. The day of October 13th, I recall being at a bar and drinking, watching the World Series game up until around 3 p.m. After that, everything is just blank. It's been almost 13 years after the offense. I doubt quite seriously if those days will return. The county examiner testified that under no circumstances did the sperm samples match. The pubic hair did not match either. The only evidence placing me into Mrs. Mears' residence is the palm print. We later learned that the palm print was sent to 3 crime labs and the print did not match, but authorities forwarded it to the FBI and all of a sudden they got a perfect match. A person, a human being, that person now lies in a grave undreaming. And yet here I am before you now. I can speak.
I've lived in Kansas since 1981, August of 1981. I came here to go to school at Marymount in Salina. I'm a corrections major. I don't really like Kansas a whole lot. I'm surprised I've been here as long as I have. It's like smack in the middle of the United States. You can't get anywhere from here. And nobody from anywhere else comes here. I grew up in a pretty strict Catholic upbringing. My mom was a housewife. My dad was in the Air Force for 30 years. I'm just a normal, hot-blooded American girl. I mean, there's nothing different from me just because I love somebody that's on death row. I first read about him in Time magazine in January of '83, and I was just moved by all the stuff that had happened in his life. And it was also that point when I switched my major over to corrections. I thought, I've got to do something about this. If you just write to somebody, it's, you're not involved with a real flesh and blood person. It's a piece of paper with writing on it. But I think when you meet somebody, your whole attitude starts to, you think, wow, this is a person, it's not a letter, it's a person. And so, that was a really big part of it. I never expected to feel the way that I feel about him. It just happened. I met him, and I just kept going back to see him. So.
Take a picture, Shirley.
Larry Anderson, look at this. How did you do it?
85 for Doug.
Terry.
One to the
Oh. Maybe he live 35 more.
The yellow one.
I think we should each put on 2 because I think that is really attractive when you have 2 on. I can wear mine in front. I wonder what it'd be like to be on death row during your birthday.
Barrel of Laughs.
So, do you like these pictures? Yeah, they turned out pretty good. We certainly got a lot of them. I wonder how long it's been since we've had a cake. Well, seeing as he's been there since he was 22, probably about 12 years. It's a long time. An understatement.
I received the pictures, and I just kept looking at that sign, "Happy Birthday, Doug," and I sat on the side of my bunk and I wept. It was one of the most expressive things, which seems like such a simple thing, but for me, it was like finding an oasis in the desert, and that is pretty much how Marianne is to me. You know, she's so much life and joy to me, and I always think about her doing that, you know, and she's always doing simple things like that.
Some of the people that I go to school with are living in a little web of a world. There's nothing else outside of Manhattan. I have no interest in other men. I want somebody who thinks, somebody who's halfway intelligent. In this, relationship that I have with Doug, I'm a complete, total, equal person. I'm not this little woman who's going to do the dishes and wash the clothes. I'm just who I am, and I can be what I want to be, and I am an equal party in this. Yeah, he makes me feel good about myself. I know that what I say, he doesn't take lightly. Everything I say is really serious and important. I think he has good relationships with women. As far as friendship goes and stuff. But I am the only person that he's had this kind of relationship with since he's been on death row. I mean, like, I'm probably the only person he's ever kissed on death row. Why should I have to go in some dingy little bathroom and make love with somebody that I care about? People do go in the bathrooms and make love, whatever. But no, we haven't. Something about going into the bathroom and getting laid on a hard, cold slab of cement just doesn't appeal to me.
Oh, of course, I adore embracing her, and I enjoy kissing her. But, I try to impress upon her that it's very important to me that she does not become stagnated as an individual because she's a young and beautiful person, and that she should get out and mingle with other guys. And I told her that she should not just stay there in Manhattan, Kansas, and simply just worry about Doug McCrae being entrapped within a 6x9 cell. I don't want that. And so she argues about that she's fine, but I know better. Marianne is very much my contact to the outside world. She tells me about her job. She tells me about how things are going on the college campus. And so by her telling me these things, I am somehow catapulted out there with her. I miss so much the very simple things. I cannot look out the window. I have to lie on the floor and strain in order to see the sky. I've gone at times for years without seeing the sky at night.
It's hard going out and listening to my friends tell me what they do, their boyfriends or whatever, and I'm sitting there, I mean, especially when people try to skirt the issue, like they don't even talk about it. I mean, everyone knows I'm involved with this man on death row, but no one ever says anything about it. It's like, we don't want to talk about this. the glasses that I'm going to wear at the beach. People are just going to drop dead when they see them. I'm sure of it. Okay. Are they me or are they me?
For you, definitely me.
Florida. Ah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Doug.
So what do they do when you go in there? Well, I mean, what happens? Can't even imagine.
You have to go through this series of clanging metal bars, and then they frisk you. Mm-hmm. And then you go through a metal detector, and invariably your bra goes off, and you have to go in and take it out, and 15 men watch you as you walk back through the metal detector. It's pretty demeaning.
Are there a lot of people in there, or?
Mm-hmm. The room's packed. There's all these guys sitting in there with orange t-shirts on and white pants, and we walk around and look at travel posters.
And you talk for 6 hours?
6 hours straight. 6 hours isn't enough. I could stay in there for 12, for 24. I could spend the night in there.
But aren't you really nervous? I mean, you probably lay out 20 outfits before you go in there, don't you?
I don't care what I wear. I don't care what I look like. I just want to get in there and see him and talk to him and touch him. That's what I care about.
I've been on death watch twice. Night times are most difficult. You think of your family and those individuals whom you love. The electric chair, it is on the other side of your wall. They tell you the number of steps. It's 3 steps to your left, and then you take 7 steps and you're inside the execution chamber. And those thoughts are ricocheting off the walls into your mind, driving you almost insane. And then when finally gaining enough courage to go to sleep, you must look at your bunk, your sheets, and pillowcase are stamped death watch. And so there's no relief by getting on your bunk. And so what I did there was I threw the sheets on the floor, hoping that I would be able to sleep that way, but then I discovered that the mattress too has death watch stamped upon it. And so when finding yourself in a situation where wind is non-existent, you simply just go with the flow.
I don't know, I guess everybody has dreams. I'd like to be living in the South, and I mean it would be a wonderful dream or whatever if Doug would be with me. Wouldn't it be great if we could walk out of here together and we could just drive somewhere in my beat-up Volkswagen? I mean, who cares what we do? I mean, just anything.
I would like nothing better than to see Marianne having accomplished all of her dreams. 10 years from now, she will probably be married and have 5, 6, 7 kids. And I will be just a memory to her.
James Darrell Rowley, to be my lawfully wedded husband, because you are indelible in my blood and brain. Were I Nefertiti or God, I would make you exactly as you are in all dimensions. I would change nothing, add or take away. And I look at you because I want to remember this, all this. When we praised God in absolute embraces, now the wealth of you beside me, time capsuled in my memory. For tomorrow I will walk alone, but I will walk proudly as a woman courted. I will wear your love and your name. How beautifully your love and your name become me. And when I see a shooting star, I shall wish for you. When the moon is new, I shall wish for you. When the rain and the thunder beat a fierce path to my door, I shall wish for you. And as the sun lays out its lavish colors of spring, summer yellow, autumn brown, I shall wish for you. And as the world approaches annihilation on every front, and there are no stars and no moon to get our bearings, the sky sags and we must all pass through time's infinite passage. Oh, my dear husband, I shall wish for you. What enslaving cocktail have I sucked from your letters and your voice to leave me so totally yours? I was 5 years old when my family and I moved to Tillery. This was formerly a white plantation. And the house that I'm living in and rehabilitating is one step up from a slave cabin. They're very well built houses, but with no bathrooms. Now the community is dying because the young and the educated did not come back. I was married 15 years to a very wonderful man. I'm just a very political creature. I'm a little difficult to live with. So we didn't make it too well. I have 4 children. One in college, a 13-year-old, and a set of 5-year-old twins. The twins were born at the age of 40. And I had just been divorced in the middle of the pregnancy. When I first got out of college, I was a social worker. I learned so much because being reared on a farm, owning our own land, our own house, created a kind of independence and self-esteem. And I didn't know people felt so low and so terrible about themselves. So it was a very good experience, but I was glad when it was over. I grew up in a period where it was not unusual to be the first to do something. And I was the first black and the first female producer for public television in North Carolina. And that was a really weird experience because I was working with middle-class, middle-aged white males, and I'm the only black person. And one thing I think was always in my favor is that I always understood why I was there. It was never about talent or determination or persistence. It was always about being black, having some credibility, and looking the part. Looking the part was very important. I was not too black. I didn't have such kinky hair. And so I wasn't offensive to look at to the white community. Let's get your back here. All right. How about those elbows?
No. Did you brush your teeth today?
For 5 years I had lived here. I was really exiled to Tillery, is the way I felt, with 4 children, trying to operate on my own. And James Browley had been imprisoned about the same time. So we had pretty parallel lives there. He was very refreshing to me. He was very caring. He was very attentive. I got letters every day. And next time we buy bubbles, we have to look for bubbles with all kinds of children on it, not just white children. Huh? See that? You have any black children on it? No black children.
Wow, they got black hair?
Black hair?
Yeah.
Brown hair.
Brown hair.
I had never been quite so accepted as a woman. He admired me as a mother. He was not threatened by what I knew. In fact, he was like drinking in whatever I had. And to me, I had the best of both worlds. I was being loved like a woman, and at the same time, I could pursue the political issues I believed in.
Right there.
Yeah, nice.
Highly to bed.
His trial transcript reads like the Scottsboro boys. No hard evidence, no fingerprints, no weapons were ever found. And the whole case was based on the testimony of a 16-year-old drug dealer.
That's a sweet girl. Mommy's love there.
James Browley was sentenced to death for the murder of a pregnant woman and her 5-year-old child. He always maintained he didn't commit the murders. Good night, Harley. Good night. All my children were crazy about him. Crystal, the oldest daughter, was most resistant of the marriage. She was so sure that my involvement would help to free him, and he would be a part of our lives for the rest of our days. Had she thought he would be killed 3 weeks after we were married, I'm sure she would have shown no resistance to the idea. My writing to him was purely out of a moral and political feeling. Even when I proposed marriage to him in December, it was still out of the political and moral motivation. I tried to get in to see him December 10th. I followed his instructions. His attorneys were never...